So, so what are you doing now? So what is your day? What is a week in the life?
Sure, I was chatting to the guys at Muscular Dystrophy earlier about this. Like, I got asked my job title and totally froze because I don't know what it is. But essentially, yeah, blogger would be the underpinnings of all this. Running online projects. So in March, I launched a 7-week e-course around employment and disability, where I interviewed 13 different people via Skype, and a couple of the contributors were in Canada and Australia. And I framed it within 6 different modules, sort of going from volunteering to job hunting to career professional, different sort of aspects of it.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned earlier, the content came from the contributors. So that's where I feel like I am, is to try and, having got the base of the blog, to then, I guess, create online learning products and services using other people's experiences as well. But it still has to be a positive, upbeat view, but yet kind of helpful information and strategies that underpin, rather than being too happy.
And how, from where you're sitting, so you studied marketing, so you've got the kind of basics done.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because you're late 20s, so you've kind of grown up with the internet, haven't you? But only just. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
So how has electronic information, how has the digital age changed your life? What might your life have been like if your mum had been blessed with you 10 years earlier? Are you conscious of that?
Is that specific to technology or across the board?
Particularly technology, because I suppose the big question is, how has technology, specifically, it'd be very easy to generalise about it, but specifically, how has it changed your life and what you're capable of achieving?
Yeah, I mean, this wheelchair, I'm in this chair all day, every day, and wheelchairs have improved a hell of a lot. My car is totally adapted, so I drive my car from my wheelchair. So those types of technology, without doubt, have improved my quality of life tenfold. And then, I guess online, it's a way of expressing my views on having a disability, but also to read about lots of other people's experience and to create a community. And that's what's happened in the last 3 years. The blog is my mouthpiece, but there's many, many other people online, who would be able to tell just as good stories about their experience of growing up with disability. And I think to then have that collectivism and that, sort of community feel that you're not the only person, as I told you when I was at school, has been very powerful for individuals to feel a bit more positive about that. But it's also enabled, projects to be made or campaigns around government provision to be made as well. And across the board, it's given people a voice. And that's something that I benefit as an individual, but also I'm trying to harness to create something new and innovative around disability.
So is it a problem for you, because you're becoming a bit of a kind of hero, aren't you? Nights like this are designed to help elevate you, and what a fantastic and positive story that is. But this was interesting in the little phone chat. We said we'd pick this up, so I hope that's all right to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it feels like there is an inherent tension, or the risk of a tension, between something that's clearly very important to you, which is to bring others into focus, to gather others, to bring the story. And you can feel this thing could just go like this, could be this magnificent community. And yet there's always going to be the desire for a personality to lead things, and it can be a very powerful thing. Is that something you're thinking about? Is that something that worries you or bothers you, or are you just looking forward to being famous, or do you not want to be famous?
No, I think what I want is for me personally, to live a life that is just like, I think coming back to the health side, I was struggling with full-time work at points as well. So I think the way that now I'm able to work my job around all this stuff is much better for my health, and that's a massive positive. But in terms of why I'm doing this is, A, it's about improving life for disabled people, and B, it's around an everyday lifestyle that I'm able to feel better. But it's not about the fame or the hero status, that's not at
as a marketeer, that's a subtle story, isn't it? That's not headline grabbing. You know, what amazing thing has he done? Right? Well, he just did a little project in Spain last week. Right? The amazing thing is that you just kind of go, why not?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And also the difficulty is there's two audiences, because there's disabled people who are, I believe, the prime audience and why I'm, working on all these different projects.
Sure.
And that's where, we touched upon that a lot, but I think what you're talking about with the bigger stories and maybe the hero status is probably from an audience that is less familiar with disability, and that's where you would want a more sensational story, a personality, and that kind of, isn't it, great that despite being disabled, you're able to do X, Y, Z, but my focus is more within the disability community, running the magazine, running the webinars, running the e-courses, and trying to improve them. And I'm sure one way or another it will go wrong, but as I said earlier, I'd rather get it wrong and learn from it, and even apologise if it's something terrible, but know my heart is in the right place and what I'm trying to achieve is good, than to have sat in a room or stayed in my other job and never done it, never tried it.
So we'll come to you for some questions. So if there's something in your mind, then use the next couple of minutes to form it into a short question. We'll do our best to get an answer. But while you're doing that, the next 12 months, say, how could that look for you? Do you have a clear idea? It sounds like the last 12 months have been pretty busy.
Yeah.
You mentioned your health and your lifestyle, your work style has accommodated. You look, I may say so, extremely healthy to me. How does the next 12 months look for you? How would you like it to be if people are here thinking, well, he seems to be doing all right? What kind of support, what kind of help, what kind of partnerships are you looking for?
Yeah, I think to summarise where everything's at the moment, the technology is in place. There's a couple who've been supporting me with that and will continue. That's been amazing.
Tell us about who they are, because it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so I went to the Institute of Fundraising conference when I was at Scribe, and they delivered a talk on social media and blogging, etc., etc. I approached AJ afterwards and told him I had this will to share my story, etc., etc. And they basically loved what I was trying to do and have provided the web design, web development support. So they've been with me for about 3 years now, and they've been doing it all, without charging for it.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's their lacking experience.
Yeah.
But what's the space you want to take?
Sure. So I think the content is very much there, and the community of getting other people to write on the magazine and joining the projects is there. I think the message, if anyone ever has views on how this can be improved or amplified, would be fantastic to work with other organisations and get more experiences involved in all of this. So in terms of amplification, it's to grow the reach and the impact of it all. And then I think I'm starting to look at, having been doing some consultancy to sustain myself, is looking to get funding in to make the project sustainable. And that would be a number of different elements, but it would be good eventually that the mag and the other e-learning could come out of a central base rather than my bedroom in Stamford Hill, and try and make this a little bit more serious as well. So that's, in terms of funding, is a big thing. But I've got lots of plans for new projects. I'm looking to do a new conference and get 50 different people to speak on this online conference in the summer. And I met the government minister for disabled people, who, again, within the sort of disability community, putting this very diplomatically, isn't the most favourite of people.
Is he not? Okay.
She's not. No,
She's
no,
not.
no.
Okay, I don't even know who it is. Who is the minister?
Maria Miller.
Okay.
There's a lot of contentious decisions around funding and policy, especially within the Twitter sphere.
Yeah. What was your experience of that?
Well, my view of going there was to share what I'm doing with my online projects and to get any assistance. And I think my view is that, in the future, if I'm able to have conversations with any government minister that has influence on disability provision, can only be a good thing. And again, if that leads somewhere more meaningful, I would want to talk with everyone through Twitter and my blog to go as a holistic message and not just my personal opinion on how to improve access to work, or it would be something that again comes from our own community.
So partners for future projects, yes. People to stimulate thinking, yes. What else would be great if it just dropped in your inbox tomorrow morning? Is it a person? Is it?
I think at the moment the priority is funding. Otherwise, it's going to run out of steam. Yeah.
Cool. Great. How are we doing for time? Yes, brilliant. Gentlemen.
Martyn.
Hello, Chris.
Could you introduce yourself for those who don't know?
My name is Chris Fisher. I work for a project called Can Do Volunteering. We're part of the Disability. We help Martyn go to Spain. And we want Martyn to get involved in a lot of other things. I personally find Martyn very inspirational. But recently he had an article in The Guardian about Disability Horizons. It's the first time I've really read the comments section, and there was an awful lot of negative comments. A lot of them were on the basis of, if I had money, I could be inspirational too. I wonder sometimes, do you think, because I've been reading Disability Horizons a few times, and because of course you interview people like Nick Hamilton, people like this, do you think perhaps you could modify the magazine a little bit to show maybe some who perhaps are struggling to get jobs, or others who have stories like that? I know when I saw a lot of your answers, you did in fact say you don't want the magazine to become political. I can understand that. But maybe there's room to show the other point of view.
Yeah, we do try to get articles that are of a more everyday nature, not just Nicholas Hamilton and the whole motoring thing. But I think the other argument that Srin and I have discussed in terms of why we're pitching it the way we are is if, for example, you read any of the newspapers, the lifestyle elements, a lot of the stories are about doing things that maybe most everyday people can't do. But it's almost like it's a bit of escapism as well. So when we're head on with news and negativity, and there's all the cuts that are going on in recession, and then specific to disability, there's obviously a lot in that sphere. I think it's also to give a different space where people can just look at the sort of holiday that they'd love to go on. So there is that angle of it, that it's a lifestyle magazine, and it doesn't mean that every reader is going to do what every article is about. It can just instill some form of spark to maybe do something more personal to that individual. And maybe we need to spell that out a little bit better. But yeah, I think there can also be more room for everyday achievements as well.
Yeah, I think the thing is, without being too unfair, you are a pretty inspirational type of guy. And sadly in our society, of course, we like to knock down people who are doing quite well. It's just a British thing, I think. I think it's more British thing than otherwise. And the unfortunate thing is, being non-disabled and working a lot with disabled people, obviously I'm interested in disabled people's views. And whilst I find them inspirational, it would be nice, I think, if a lot of other disabled people sort of thought, well, Martyn's able to achieve this, maybe I can help. Maybe there might be some scope. I mean, you've said a lot of things about what you do, but if you're also able to say just how you've managed to achieve it, because we know it took you a year to go to Spain.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, to be perfectly honest, not many people would know just how hard we look for that. I'm just wondering sometimes if you do something, like you said to me, I'm going to Tenerife for a business consultancy.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to tell you this, Martyn, I'd like to go to Tenerife.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, the thing is, you do it, it's part of your second nature and it happens to you, but I'm just wondering
But this was a dream last year. Like, I'm pinching myself that I went to Spain and the Tenerife thing happened. But
you do have a great habit of making dreams come true. But I'm just wondering somehow if you can sort of tempt the others to get them involved in it too.
Sure.
Because I wonder sometimes, I think unfortunately you might get a fair amount of criticism unjustly.
So let's pick this up. When criticism comes your way, and we talked a bit about, you got some stuff back on comments on the Guardian. Well, right, you could say fair play. You get the press, and you get the coverage, then take a stick. But criticism of what you're doing and how you want to live your life. And in terms of it seems to me that you are consciously deciding, so it's a lifestyle, I see.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So how are you with the criticism? Does it really bother you?
I think it's a balance of, yes, it bothers me because I've poured a lot of time and energy and thinking, and as Chris said, probably I don't articulate that enough. It's more that that's what's happening and I'm enjoying it, and that's nice. So that's a learning.
Yeah.
But I think also I get emails and tweets and other forms of online media communications of people that say they love it and it's fantastic, and a lot of parents actually. I think sort of younger disabled people, teenagers, are quite receptive to this, and parents of very young disabled people, to see that their child has a nice, positive future, can unlock a lot of different moments early on, which could be quite powerful as well.
That must be very powerful indeed. Yeah. Good. Thank you for the questions and the comments. Anything else from anybody else? In particular. Oh, you see, I was taught to always wait, and then the two buses come at the same time. Let's take, is it Nick?
Yes.
Yes, Nick. And say who you are as well.
I work for Scope, and I would say I work for mine, but more I get questions leaving do. We've worked together on a few things since. I guess my question is quite simple. It's, you are quite inspirational. I see you as being someone who's almost trailblazing a lot of what you're doing. And it's more, how do you define success? So, since you've started all of this, what have been the 2 or 3 things that you would say have been successful for you in the work you've been doing?
Yeah, sure.
That's a nice question. How do you define your success?
I think there is an element of numbers. So when Horizons had 15,000 people viewing, reading it, that was great to know that we've reached that many people. And that was obviously compounded with the Guardian article, which was a positive that the Guardian felt that what we were doing was worth sharing as well. So I guess a bit of press of the bag, and the numbers was definitely a good thing. And as you've all sort of picked up the last couple of months, I've ended up living this sort of thing that I dreamt of randomly a year or 2 ago, a bit of travel that's turned into a bit more than a little bit. And so as an individual who likes travel, that's fine. But I think it's a bit of a transitional moment right here, right now, with, I would still want to continue to enjoy personal success, whatever that is. But I think you're going to see the online projects, as Chris has talked about, trying to move a bit away from that.
Great. Nice question. Thank you. Ed. Ed. Yes, tell us who you are.
I'm Ed. I'm trying to start something called the Bank of Britain. I find your talk very inspirational. Maybe you could go into what you did in Spain.
Okay, sure, yeah.
And you touched on the fact that you maybe would inspire people who aren't disabled as well.
Yeah.
And also you touched on the fact that one of the reasons you left Scope was that the hours fitted in with your capabilities as far as doing things. And I'm sure there's people, parents and other people who either don't want to or can't work an 8-hour day and travel for 3 hours commuting and all the rest of it, but would like to be working, say, 9 till 3 or something. And how maybe you interface with the non-disabled as well.
Sure. So Spain
and
that was a European Union programme.
And inspiring everyone else.
Yeah, okay. So I think the thing around Spain was to do with, it's a programme where it encourages people between 18 and 30 to travel around Europe to work on a social project as a volunteer, and to have all of the experience of a new language, a new culture, and I guess also that brings in the reason why the EU do it is to create a more cohesive EU, which is topical at the moment. But in terms of my experience, was I wanted to go to Spain. I looked into projects that I could physically do, and there were very few. Those I found couldn't then cater for my needs accommodation-wise, in the end, after Chris helped to sort of get word out within the Spanish National Agency, one project came up in the north of Spain last September. Then we had to put budgets on how my PAs would be, their costs would be covered, travelling in and out to support me, which was through the programme, any equipment needed, etc., etc. And it all came together in February. So for 2 months I was teaching English, running a radio show, giving talks to schools and youth groups, and generally creating other projects I wanted to do for young disadvantaged people. So, yeah, it's a summary of it.
Terrific. Yeah, that's in northern Spain,
Yeah.
not Tenerife.
No, that's a separate thing. The company that when I've been there in the past with the family holiday was to do accessible cabs, hoist, and they have a hotel, and they want me to come and write their marketing strategy, and in return they're covering costs.
Nice. Cheese for chairs, Bank of Britain.
Bank of Britain.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Very nice. When you think about other people and their perceptions, so there's a question there about inspiring others, and I hate to say it, I know that being inspirational isn't a particular goal of yours, but it is the common word that keeps on being used. So let's deal with it. What inspires you? What are some of the stories that you've heard? What are some of the people that you know that inspire you to keep going? Or are you totally self-energized?
In fact, the guy that's come in, Toby, he sat there, he gave a talk. He's got the same disability as myself. I was 16, you were 18, sounds like a song, doesn't it? And Toby talked about going to university, and at that point I wasn't sure if I would be able to. And because Toby was at uni, that to me inspired me to go on and do it myself. So Toby's been like a massive inspiration in everyday life for a long, long time, and the whole should I leave my day job and everything as well. Toby heard all the talks that he had. So yeah, definitely people like Toby. But I think that the general thread would be people that live life true to their values and they just get out there and do it. Anyone who does that inspires me.
Fair play. Young man.
Martyn, you're disability income. My question is, how do you balance your life, because I also know you're a campaigner when it comes to campaigning for our rights. How do you balance that with an I can do attitude that you have? How do you merge that message?
I can change the status quo in terms of to change the provision that needs improvement. So I guess that personally, how I've got into my life, I channel into campaigning and say if this is not as it should be, then that could be changed too. What was that?
Yeah.
Great, yes.
I work for a charity called Go On UK, which, for those of you who don't know, is about getting everyone and every organisation in the UK online.
Tell us what it's called again.
It's Go On UK.
Go On UK.
Go On UK. It's
Okay.
newly launched. It's picked up the baton from a campaign called Bracing in 2012. And so my question really is about all the people who have a disability and aren't online, and how would you inspire them? Obviously you talk about how technology's changed your life, but how do you pass that on to others?
Okay. So do you mean kind of the online tools I use?
It's more about inspiring those who have never used the internet, because nearly, about 40% of those who have never been online have a disability.
Okay.
So I was just wondering if you have any pointers or ideas about how you would inspire them.
40% of those who've never been online.
It's around 40%, don't quote me.
Okay.
But yes.
Yeah, you mean, yeah, okay. You can imagine a pretty alienated group of people out there
Yeah.
who have a disability and don't have the wonder of the internet.
Yeah. That's a difficult question, that's a big one.
Sorry.
No, I mean, well, one example I guess would be with Horizons, we did a couple of meetups. So that we tried to create an offline version of what we're doing online so people can come together and share a drink or whatever. But again, I suppose the counter argument would be most of the people that came and heard about it would have been through the online magazine. So it's a difficult one, but I guess that will come back to partnerships as well, maybe. Is, you know, we haven't got the means to print offline or anything like that, but maybe there's a way of working with other organisations to get Horizons, you know, monthly summary out and try and get it to those groups would be great. But at the moment we're not on that point, so work in progress.
One last question, or two last questions, if there are two. Yes, Ashley.
Ashley, please. Martyn, what would you like us to go and do as a result of listening to you? You know, what do you want us to take out? What practically can we do to help you tomorrow?
Yeah. If you know anyone that will benefit from the project, tell them. If you can help